Continuing, now we can say that for fluorescence phenomena, the time lapse is 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6 seconds. For phosphorus phenomena, it may move up till 20 seconds. Now look at the time gap. Now this is very less, whereas this is higher system. Now when we observe that, we can already seen that the major difference is this time lapse system. The second major difference is because of the source of light. What are the some examples for fluorescence and phosphorescence? So what are the compounds that might give some fluorescence system? Fluorescence systems can be given, for example, a system like coumarin systems. It can be a system like acetophenone. It can be a system like C2H5OH. Now this phenomena is because once some amount of energy is absorbed, later some amount of energy is also emitted out. Now phosphorescence phenomena is a rarer phenomena. Fluorescence phenomena is mostly observed by all of the molecules which might have a double bond system or which might have a carbonyl carbon system. But then the fluorescence amount or the fluorescence observation may be less or high. But phosphorescence phenomena is a very rare phenomena. The major example for phosphorescence phenomena is zinc sulfide and strontium aluminate system. For fluorescence phenomena, it can be a coumarin system, it can be acetophenone system, it can be any system which has got electrons present in that. Now we have already seen the difference between fluorescence and phosphorescence. We have seen that some amount of light is given, it moves from an even state to an excited state, that is a ground state to an excited state. Now once from an excited state back to the fluorescent state, it emits some light which is of a longer wavelength. Now this phenomena is called as fluorescence. But why the time gaps taken for a phosphorescence phenomena is more? This is because there the electron will rest at some transition phase called as T1 phase. Now this resting period, it requires more time to come back to the ground state, and hence the time lapse increases. Once the time lapse increases, obviously that phenomena is called as a delayed fluorescence, or it is also called as phosphorescence phenomena. Whereas in fluorescence phenomena, there is no resting period or there is no transition state. Because it is just directly coming from an excited state back to the ground state, we can observe that there is a direct emission. Whereas for phosphorescence, there is some resting stage which is the T1 stage, and hence it takes more time so that it falls back to the ground state, and hence this phenomena is called as phosphorescence. Now let us understand this by an example. Now for example, if there is a molecule, it goes from the ground state to an excited state. Once it goes from the ground state to an excited state, it will directly fall down to the ground state. There is no gap from falling from an excited state to the ground state. This phenomena is called as fluorescence. Whereas if the same molecule, it will stop for a certain period, that is from this excited state, it is stopping at some second excited state, which is also called as transition state. Now this time gap will be more. Now for example, from here till here, if it is taking 1 minute, from here till here back also it is going to take 1 minute. From here till here, that means from going from ground state to an excited state, if it is taking 1 minute, here it might take some 0.5 seconds more. So while returning back, it might take 1.05 seconds. So this is a more time lapse in the phosphorescence phenomena. Now, fluorescence phenomena, excited electron immediately emits the light and falls back to the original energy level. If there is no light source, then there will be no more phosphorescence which can observe. Fluorescence which can be observed. If there is no light source, then there will be no fluorescence which will be observed. For the phosphorescence, excited electrons do not immediately emit the light. It happens over several seconds to hours. So light source is applied and taken away. Still the light slowly is emitted over a period of time. Now this particular phenomena is called as phosphorescence phenomena. Now talking about the system, as to why we are studying fluorescence or phosphorescence. Let us understand fluorescence, which is used in a research. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry for 2008 was awarded to Oshimura et al. For the development of green fluorescent protein. Now this particular protein is used for a tag for DNA, so that if there is any mutation we can understand, if there is some change in the DNA we can understand. So the whole process could be observed by the researchers. Now this particular tagging system was very useful in understanding the biological process and how certain nerve cells are getting developed, how certain cancer cells are getting spread. To understand all this phenomena, this green fluorescence protein was very important. So this was a landmark to understand fluorescence spectroscopy in terms of research. Now what is this formation of the green fluorescent protein? What exactly is a green fluorescent protein? Now when we speak about protein, obviously we need to understand that there will be presence of an amino acids. Now there are certain amino acids like glycine, serine and tyrosine system. Now this is a part where I have got an amide system. So amino acids plus amino acids in the formation of amide system will give me a protein. So this is a basic system that we understand. That is, two amino acids when they combined through a CONH bond. Now this particular CONH bond is called as amide bond. Now if there are lot of amide bond system, then they are called as protein system. Now for example, this particular system is a protein system. We can observe that there are amide bonds, CONH bond, CONH bond. These are all the amide bonds which is forming this particular protein. Now what are the amino acids which are present in this particular system? Glycine, there is a serine, there is a tyrosine. Now we can observe that there is a lone pair of electron present on the nitrogen over here. This particular lone pair of electrons, it attacks onto the carbonyl carbon of the serine. Lone pair of electrons, it is attacking on the carbonyl carbon of the serine. This gives a cyclization reaction. This cyclization reaction is going to give me a 5-membered ring. Now what is this 5-membered ring? There is a presence of 2 nitrogen system. Now this 2 nitrogen system along with the carbonyl carbon, it is called as imidazolinone ring system. How has this happened? Lone pair of electrons from the nitrogen attacks the carbonyl carbon, undergoes a cyclization to give me an imidazolinone system. Now we can observe there is a presence of OH system and there is a presence of proton over here. Can we not abstract this proton and an OH system by a dehydration? That is removal of a molecule of water. This introduces a double bond here. This is introducing a double bond in the system, that is we are getting double bond N. Upon oxidation of this particular double bond over here, it is going to give us a green fluorescent protein. Now this particular green fluorescent protein has been utilized for the tag of DNA and RNA system to understand various phenomena. Now let us understand the procedure once again. Lone pair of electrons of the glycine amino acid attacks the carbonyl carbon of the serine amino acid. There is a cyclization. Once there is a cyclization, there is an imidazolinone system which is formed. Upon dehydration, we will be getting a double bond N. Upon oxidation with the help of O2, we will be getting a double bond at this particular position and we will get a green fluorescent protein. Now after understanding the importance of the systems of fluorescence in research, let us understand what are the principles of fluorescence and phosphorescence. Now we already know that many compounds undergo UV visible, they absorb UV visible light, they undergo electronic transitions from lower system to an higher system. The time lapse for fluorescence is 10⁻⁻⁶ seconds. The delayed re-emission of the absorbed energy is phosphorescence. Now this is almost like 20 seconds that it take place. We already know that there is some inter-transition state which is happening in the phosphorescence. That is how there is a delayed system. But we have to understand one thing, that these are formed because of the presence of electrons. Now understanding the electrons is important because electrons, they have singlet and triplet state. Most of the electrons are in this paired system. that is at the ground state they are in paired system and they are said to be a singlet state system. That is, they do not show any magnetic movement. That is a magnetic movement. Because there is a presence of an opposite spin, there will be no magnetic movement. But once these are having a similar spin system, now the magnetic movement is never zero in this particular system. That is, they are going to act as a tiny magnets. This particular state, they are going to act as a tiny magnet system, and hence there is some amount of magnetic movement because of the presence of a same spin. Now this system is called as a triplet state. That is, if these have got an opposite spin, the magnetic movement is equal to 0. Now this particular state is called as a singlet state. Once the system is having such kind of spin, that is, they have the same spin system, the magnetic movement is not equal to 0, then this state is called as triplet state. How do we actually calculate this multiplicity? That is, we can calculate the multiplicity and we can understand whether the system is a singlet state or whether the system is a triplet state. This comes with a formula called as 2s plus 1. Now where s is going to speak about the spin multiplicity. Now if these are opposite electrons which are present, so this will be plus half, this will be minus half, they cancel each other. Now what is s is equal to here? S is equal to 0. So if we just put this in this formula, 2s plus 1 which is equal to 2 into 0 plus 1 which is equal to 1. So what is the state? It is a singlet state. Now if we have got a electronic system like this, there is a plus half, again there is a plus half. So what is equal to? It is equal to 1. So s is equal to 1. 2s plus 1 which is equal to 2 into 1 plus 1 which is equal to 3. Now this is going to give me a triplet state. So this is how we calculate the spin multiplicity. That is, we are going to put s is equal to 1. How did we get s is equal to 1? Plus half, we got 1 and we substituted in 2s plus 1. We got 2 into 1 plus 1, that is equal to 3. That is, there is some magnetic movement present here, whereas here the magnetic movement is equal to 0. Now these are called the singlet state or the triplet state phenomena. Now let us observe what is happening. Once the fluorescence phenomena takes place, that is, it will have to go from the ground state to an excited state, it will directly return back, and hence it is called as fluorescence phenomena. For the phosphorescence phenomena, the electrons move from ground state to an excited state, and then there is a transition state or the intertransition state which will wait over there, and then it will return back to the ground state. This is called as phosphorescence phenomena. Now there will be several electronic levels and electrons are present at the ground state in the singlet state. Now when we observe this, we cannot say that there is one single transition state. There will be several transition state at the ground state. Now this particular system can be said to be vibrational state. Now vibrational state can be V1, V2, V3 dependent on where the electrons are residing. When the molecules absorb UV visible light, electron from the ground state goes to an excited state. This is what is going to happen. Electron is going to go from ground state to an excited state. The excited state also has got several vibrational levels. Like the ground state, obviously, even the excited state will have various vibrational levels like V1, V2, V3. Now this is what is going to be there. That is, vibrational levels are there at ground state also, and vibrational levels are there at the excited state also. Now when these are various vibrational levels, the electron loses in energy by intermolecular collision and it comes back to the lowest vibrational level of the excited state. So what happens here is, let us say that there are vibrational levels. Now this is my ground state, this is my excited state. Once the electron has moved after it has absorbed some light, it has moved to an highest vibrational state, which is V3. After the intermolecular collisions, now what is the meaning of intermolecular collision? Between the molecules, that is molecule number 1 and molecule number 2, when there is some exchange of energy, we can say that with this exchange of energy, it will first come down to V1. The electron will first come down to V1 system, that is vibrational energy of the excited state, that is lowest vibrational energy of the excited state. That is going to happen in the step 1. Finally, the electron from the lowest vibrational energy of the excited state returns to the ground state. So what happens is, finally the electron from the lowest vibrational level of the excited state returns to the ground state by emitting the radiation with lower energy or higher wavelength. So what is happening here is, once this electron has returned to the V1 system, from here it has to return back to the ground state. Now, if it has absorbed a shorter wavelength and it is giving out a longer wavelength, now this phenomena is called as either fluorescence or phosphorescence. It can be anything, but in totality it is called as luminescence phenomena. Now absorption takes place first, then there is a collision, it has to return back to the lowest vibrational energy level of the excited state, then there is an emission. Now this emission is between 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, that is the time lapse. Now this energy of radiation emitted, now this emitted energy is less than that of the absorbed energy. Now this is called as fluorescence phenomena. This particular system where the emitted energy is less than the absorbed energy, this particular phenomena is called as fluorescence phenomena. What happens in a phosphorescence phenomena? The inversion of the electron spin takes place. Now, we have just now understood that there is a singlet state and there is a triplet state. Now let us say that from a singlet state the electron is moving. Now look at this particular electron. It has moved from the ground state to an excited state. With the same system, it is going to return back to the ground state. Has it changed its spin? No, it has not changed the spin. It was plus half here. Here also it has returned as plus half. But in the phosphorescence phenomena, this electron which has moved from the ground state, which was actually a singlet state first, to the excited state, now say plus half has moved here, plus half. But while returning back, this plus half has actually changed its spin. Now while returning back, it has changed its spin into minus half. Once this changes, look at the ground state. Earlier the ground state was in singlet state, but while returning back, there will be two systems like this. Now this particular system is going to turn back to a triplet state. Now once there is a reversal of spin, this particular phenomena is going to be a phosphorescence phenomena. That is, once because of there is a reversal of spin, it is going to give me a triplet state, which is called as phosphorescence phenomena. That means the energy of the U visible is absorbed by the electron, jumps to the excited state, and the spin gets reversed, which turns to a triplet state. We have already seen what is a triplet state. Now both the electrons have the same spin. That means they either have this spin or they have this spin. Now there will be same kind of spins which will be present. Chances of returning to the ground state becomes less because of the same spin which is unfavorable. So what happens is, this coming back to the ground state will be very difficult because of the repulsion. That means they have the same spin and there will be a repulsion system, and once there is a repulsion, returning back will be taking more time. So this more time is called as longer time lapse. This takes more time to reverse the spin and come back to the ground state. Now this time taken is between 10 raised to minus 4 to several seconds. So what happens here is, from the ground state to an excited state, of course the electron has gone. There is no problem, it has been plus half. But in the transition state, it has got reversal and this is going to give a repulsion. Now again, before returning back to the ground state, it has to again reverse its spin to plus half. That is, again after reversing only it is going to come back to the ground state. Then only we can see some amount of emission. Now this emission of light, once again there is a reversal phenomena, this is going to take more time. So the time gap can be till 20 seconds. That is what is happening from the ground state to an excited state, reversal of spin. Then reversal of spin to back to the original spin. This has happened as minus half. Again it has to return back to plus half and then back to the ground state. This will take more time. Now this delayed re-emission of light is called as phosphorescence phenomenon. Now the energy emitted is again less because of the energy absorbed system, because it is going to have a longer wavelength system, and hence in both fluorescence and phosphorescence we can say that absorbed energy can be seen that there will be a more energy which is given, but in terms of wavelength is shorter wavelength is absorbed and longer wavelength is given out. So obviously the energy is also less. Here absorbed energy is more, giving out or the emission energy is less. So these are some of the phenomena associated with fluorescence and phosphorescence. Thank you.